Welcome to Everything You Need to Know. Today we are going to be talking about berries like raspberries and strawberries and mulberries and blackberries and blueberries, cranberries, elderberries, gooseberries, goji berries. There is a whole lot of berries, some of them more common than others, and some of them taste better than others as far as their tartness and sweetness goes. But did you know that every single meal plan that I have ever come across talks about how we need to increase and eat more berries? So why is that? What is there about berries that is so good for us? Well, number one is the antioxidants. And the antioxidants are those disease-fighting properties of food. So oftentimes we think of it as the color in foods that give it those antioxidants because we can relate things like the red lycopene in tomatoes, right? That's the antioxidant. But what are antioxidants? What are they? What do they do? Well, anti and oxidant. Anti means against. Oxidant is that oxidation. So we get cells in our body that start to break down and forget what their normal job is. And if you think back to chemistry class, if they lose an electron, they become free radicals. They're a little wild and crazy. It's like the black sheep of the family. You know, at some point they're going to do something bad. So antioxidants are against those free radicals, against that oxidation. So the antioxidants run around to those free radicals and kind of vacuum them up, and they give them an electron, which means they make them more stable. They give them their calming juice, really. They help them to remember their job and to get their job done again. So antioxidants, a lot of them are found in berries and vegetables, and those are the things that help to fight the disease by mopping up all of those free radicals in our body. And we can't be scared or worried about free radicals because they come into our body all the time in doing things that we're supposed to do. For example, breathing. Breathing causes free radicals to occur in our body. Exercising causes free radicals to occur. So it's not like we can stop this normal process from happening, but what we can do is help to stop them from becoming cells that are going to cause diseases. So wild blueberries are the highest berry with the most, or the berry with the most amount of antioxidants. Wild blueberries. Those are those really tiny ones. They're full of flavor, a big punch. You can often find them in the frozen section. So they have the most amount of antioxidants to them, but all berries, they're probably, I think it's second to herbs and spices. Berries have the highest amount of antioxidants of any other kind of food group. So a type of antioxidant, or an example, two easy ones to pronounce, are vitamin A and vitamin C. So those two are antioxidants that are also vitamins. So that's pretty special and important. But other antioxidant types that we've probably talked about, you may remember, are quercetin, anthocyanins, catechin, and epicatechin. So, and the list goes on and on and on. There is so many, there's hundreds of different antioxidants. So you can think about a different food color, and then there's a corresponding antioxidant to that. So yes, why are berries so healthy? Because of the plethora of disease-fighting properties in them known as antioxidants. Number two is because all berries have a good amount of fiber in them. So you don't think that we can get through a talk without talking about fiber. Fiber is so important in every part of our body. When we have a good amount of fiber in foods, then we're going to slow down our digestive system. And what's really good about that is that when we slow down our digestion, more vitamins and minerals can be pulled out of our food and into our bloodstream to be used by the body. The other thing that's really good, of course, you knew this was coming, but fiber absorbs water. So what's left in the digestive system kind of keeps growing and growing because of the fiber, and it cleans out our small intestine, especially our large intestine, because by that time, the water is really being taken out, fully absorbed. So then you have the solid bowel movements that we all have at the end of eating something. So with the fiber, water's absorbed, even though there's going to be some water pulled out in our large intestine, but it's going to be large enough, that bowel movement, it's going through that intestine and it cleans the walls of that colon. And in cleaning those walls, we're getting rid of that risk of cancer. We're getting rid of that diverticular disease, which is inflammation of the colon because we don't eat enough fiber. So fiber is so important. And about 1 cup, so a fistful of berries, have somewhere between 2 grams of fiber in blueberries to like 6.5 grams of fiber in raspberries. So a good amount of fiber, and it's really easy to eat a full cup of berries. Now, as far as Canada's food guide goes, a half of a cup of berries or any other fruit is a serving. So you eat a full cup and you get 2 servings of berries. So the third reason why berries are so good for us is because they are high in nutrition. So the nutrition, the vitamins and the minerals are really high because they grow on a bush or on a vine and it's in the ground, right? Anything that grows in the ground is pulling up vitamins and minerals from that ground. And berries have to stay on the plant until they're fully ripened because we can't pick them and have them ripen over time. They have to be fully ripened on that plant so that they're going to be tasting as good as they're going to get. Unlike peaches, right, where peaches you could pick them and then they kind of get softer and ripen over time. That's it for berries. So the longer they stay on the vine, the more vitamins and minerals that they're going to get. The other thing is that berries in general aren't overly sweet like honey or sweet like apples or grapes. So they don't have as much of that natural sugar to them. So that means that they're just lower in carbohydrates than other fruit. So that means they're a low carb fruit with a high nutritional content, and that's another reason why they're so good for us. So some examples, now this is just a couple because there's so many vitamins in them. Of course, there's vitamin C. Berries, we get a lot of vitamin C. We get a mineral called manganese, and that's a very small amount that we need in our body, but it needs it in certain processes. We get vitamin K. So vitamin K we actually need in our gut to help the vitamin D get absorbed. The vitamin D then helps the calcium to get to the bones and the teeth. So we need the K to help the D to help the calcium. So that's a bit of a chain reaction. So there is vitamin K in berries. There's also a little bit of copper, and there's also folate. So for those ladies in the childbearing years, folate is something that is super important to help with the development of the brain and also the central nervous system. So this is naturally occurring folate. And it's interesting that every single vitamin or every single berry has about the same amount of vitamin and mineral profile. So that's also that it's different from an apple or a citrus fruit because they all kind of look the same nutritionally. All right, another reason why berries are so good for us is because they are good for our body. And in a lot of ways that we've kind of already talked about, but the bigger picture is they help to fight disease. And one of the ways is that it does it by decreasing inflammation. So inflammation happens in the body when the body is angry at something. And there's a lot of reasons that can cause this. But something that we've already talked about is that fiber that we get in food. That fiber helps to decrease that inflammation, to absorb some of the toxins that are in our body and get rid of them. And it's also the antioxidants that are running around, grabbing all those free radicals, keeping them from harming different cells or going rogue and doing their own thing because they kind of forgot their job. So those antioxidants are gathering them up and getting rid of them. So those two things are going to help to decrease that inflammation. And with less inflammation, then we're preventing or putting off any diseases that we might be getting. Another great thing that fiber does is that it helps to keep our arteries clean. So our arteries is that part of our body where the blood is pumping through. And when we get high cholesterol, we get high fats, we get high sugar, then it's really hard for our heart to pump all of that blood through because it's thicker, it's sticky, and it's a lot more stress. So with increased fiber, we're going to absorb some of that fat, absorb some of that sugar, and fiber is going to slow down that digestive system, so slows down how quickly that sugar is absorbed and put into the blood as well. So that helps to reduce the risk for cardiovascular diseases. And it also helps to lower cholesterol because that fiber is absorbing some of that cholesterol that we're eating and keeps it from going to the liver to get broken down. So because fiber helps to slow down our digestion too, because it bulks things up and it slows down how quickly things get broken down in our digestive system, it's going to improve our blood sugar because our natural carbohydrates and our added sugars aren't getting absorbed into the bloodstream as quickly. So that's going to give our pancreas a little bit of a rest because it doesn't have to pump out as much insulin to grab that sugar to store it in those muscle and liver cells. So it just doesn't have to work as hard. And it also will help that insulin sensitivity to be more sensitive longer, because as we age, our bodies get less sensitive in that insulin. So then the insulin can't get that sugar into where it needs to be stored. And then that's a cascade of events right there. So berries are super good for the body because it lowers inflammation. It helps us to prevent or decrease the risk of cardiovascular disease, lowers our cholesterol, and slows our absorption. But the best part of all is that berries are versatile. We can eat them just out of the bag or washed just out of the container or just off the bush. We can eat them fresh like that, but we can also put them in so many different things. Throw them on top of our cereal or our oatmeal in the morning. We can eat them, we can make jam out of them, or you can put them on your toast on nut butter and just put your fresh berries right on top, and that's like natural jam. You can put them into muffins, you can put them into cakes, you can put them into smoothies, and that's just breakfast. Lunch and dinner, you can add them to your meals and just have on the side of your plate. Definitely as a dessert. You can also blend them up and add them as some sort of like a sauce, especially for pork, but also for salad dressings. But you can also just add them to different salads and have fruit in your salads. So they're so incredibly versatile. It's one of those fruits that can really pair with so many different things. And because they're so good for us, we want to include them more and more. So what is the healthiest way to eat a berry? Well, number one is fresh and local. If you can get out to some sort of a field or somewhere where they're picking strawberries or raspberries or blueberries or cranberries or something and pick them yourself, you're going to save money even. But that is the freshest way to get them. Second best, however, well, to that, even if you don't get out to the farmer's field and you can get them local in the grocery store, that's a really great way to do it as well. And let your grocery store managers know that you want the fresh and the local instead of the imports, because fresh and local means that they've been picked most recently and they're going to be quite a bit more fresh than anything that we're going to import. So second to fresh and local is frozen. Frozen is actually a really, really great way to eat any kind of berry. And that's because they don't really lose a whole lot of nutrition. So yes, they're going to lose a little bit of vitamin C and a little bit of magnesium, but because we tend to throw out less because they don't go bad, we tend to eat more of them because we have them more regularly, then we're going to get that vitamin C and magnesium back in our system. So they really don't lose a whole lot. So frozen is second best, and third best is fresh, just imported from somewhere. So super great to be able to include berries wherever you're at. But if you can get them local, that's even better for you. So how do you pick them? Well, if you're at a farmer's or field or something and you can pick them, so Berries are a type of fruit that doesn't continue to ripen. Peaches, nectarines, plums, those things will continue to ripen after you pick them on the countertop. And in a couple of days, they'll be mushy, those peaches, and then they'll be sweeter and sweeter. Well, berries, you pick them and they're done. So if you're picking strawberries, you want to be able to make sure that they're fully red. Turn them over when they're attached to the plant. If there's a white spot, that's going to be hard. It's not going to be flavorful. You won't want that. If there's a brown spot or if it's a little bit mushy, then it's continued to ripen past its point of being the best berry it can be. So you want to pluck that off so that the plant doesn't continue to ripen it and waste its nutrition on that berry that's already done. If you're picking blueberries, you don't want them to be like a light blue color or a red color or a white color. Those are not ripened blueberries. You want them to be fully dark blue. And blueberries have this natural coating called bloom on them, and it is a protectant actually to fight against all of the birds and the insects, to keep them from getting picked off, I guess, by those birds. However, birds are really important because birds eat them, poop out the seeds, and then they continue to grow and multiply. So we do need the birds. However, if we're at a blueberry farm, we don't want the birds, we just want to eat them ourselves. But the bloom is a natural thing. You don't have to rub it off. Now, all berries get sprayed so that the insects don't eat them before we do. But that light blue or white coating, now you can see it a little bit near the center where the flowers are attached on the blueberries there. You can see a little bit of that white coating. So that's the bloom. It's all natural. You don't have to wipe it off. You can eat them as is. Best to wash them first, but that is a natural coating on them. Now, when you get them at the grocery store or you get them at a farmer's market or something, or a farmer's field, don't wash them until you're going to eat them. That's the big thing, because as soon as you wash them, that extra moisture is going to make them, not that it ripens, but that extra moisture makes them decay faster. So if you're going to eat them today and tomorrow, wash them right before you go to eat them. Definitely wash them just before. Don't just eat them out of the container, just because there's been a lot of hands from picking them all the way into the container and at your house. Who knows who has sneezed on them and done whatever. So it is always good to wash that fresh stuff. Now the frozen stuff, it's been in a plastic bag, sealed. They've washed it before, so you definitely don't need to wash it there. But strawberries are the same. If you have 3 or 4 containers and you wash them all and leave them in the fridge, they're going to get a lot more rotten quickly versus just leaving them in their natural coatings and then washing them right before you're eating. So as you can see, berries, there are so many wonderful attributes to them. They're so healthy for us. So include them in your meal plan as you can.